Good day, dear participants and colleagues. We are grateful for the opportunity to participate in the 5th International Conference on Sustainable Futures. Our article is entitled The Influence of Organic Agriculture Development Processes on the Country's Economic Security Components. The country's economic security is inextricably linked with its environmental security because increasing competitiveness and ensuring balanced growth must occur without worsening the ecological situation and environmental pollution. It is a key priority for Ukraine, whose economic and ecological potential is significantly undermined by full-scale war and the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the significant principles of country's post-war reconstruction and green growth is organic production. According to scientists, organic production is one of the most promising areas of the agricultural sector and a vital component of the country's food security. Moreover, part of Ukraine's agricultural land is under temporary occupation or is subject to Russian attacks, so the most rational use of available agricultural land is necessary even in the current period. Thus, organic production is a priority direction in the development of agriculture, which has an impact on the state of country's economic security. Our research should have provided answers to the following questions that you see on the screen. The purpose of the study is to analyze the impact of the development processes of organic agriculture on the components of the country's economic security defined by methodological recommendations of Ukraine's Ministry of Economy. Determining the directions of influence will allow us to assess the role of growing organic crops and livestock products in the context of the post-war green reconstruction of the country. The research uses the office method, traditional information target, correlation and regression analysis, and economic and statistical processing of data arrays. It creates the possibility of using a wide range of materials in different areas and periods. The research materials are statistical data from the State Statistics Service of Ukraine, the National Bank of Ukraine, and the Research Institute of Organic Agriculture, FIBL, as well as official documents and reports of the European Commission. According to the methodological recommendations for calculating a country's economic security level, organic agriculture does not have a direct impact on the economic security state. It is not represented in methodology by such specific indicators as the area of agricultural land with organic status or its share in the structure of land resources, the volume of export, import, and retail trade of organic products, or the indicator of their consumption by one person in value terms. Despite the lack of direct influence on the country's economic security, organic agricultural production indirectly affects its components, which are discussed in the article. The transition from traditional to organic production involves updating the main assets, premises, structures, tools, long-term biological assets, in order to create special conditions for growing and storing agricultural products. Based on this, organic production reduces the degree of wear and tear of fixed assets in agriculture, which is one of the indicators of industrial security. The analysis of dynamics based on average annual growth rates shows that while the rate of wear and tear in the economy is decreasing annually by 2.72%, in agriculture, on contrary, it is increasing annually by 2.34% from 32.6% in 2011 to 41.1% in 2021. In the context of economic security, this trend may lead to a gradual transition from the optimal and satisfactory state of the industrial security indicator to an unsatisfactory state in 2030, crossing the threshold value. One of the state agricultural policy measures could be to stimulate the enterprises' transition to organic production that have a critical level of wear and tear for economic security with the help of financial or other instruments of state support. Another indicator of industrial security which is subject to indirect influence is the yield of the main grain and leguminous crops. Since 2015, the yield of corn has gone beyond the optimal limits and is excessive, and in 2021 it has reached an unsatisfactory level in the context of economic security. Overharvesting is often a sign of reduced biodiversity, greater use of pesticides, fertilizers, and water, disruption of soil's natural balance and depletion of its nutrient reserves. Organic agriculture in turn has the opposite influence result. It helps to preserve soil and water resources, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promote sustainable use of land resources and therefore reduce overyielding. Based on this, stimulating the transition to organic crop production of corn producers with a critical level of wear and tear of fixed assets will reduce the excessive yield of the crop and renew the enterprise's fixed assets. Moreover, a decrease in the production of corn will reduce the supply in the domestic and foreign markets, which, under the condition of constant demand, will lead to an increase in the producer's income. The development of organic production and consumption of environmentally friendly products has a positive effect on life expectancy at birth and therefore improves the demographic security level. Although there are only minor differences in the nutrient composition of organic and conventional foods, in the article highlighted that organic food consumption can reduce the risk of allergic diseases, overweight and obesity. Firstly, due to the limited use of pesticides in crop production and antibiotics in livestock production, their negative impact on health is minimized, especially the emergence of human resistance to antibiotics. According to the Public Health Center of Ukraine's Ministry of Health, the number of infections that cannot be cured by antibiotics is increasing as a result of antibiotic resistance. According to WHO, antibiotic resistance is one of the 10 biggest threats to humanity. And as early as 2050, antibiotic resistance could claim up to 10 million human lives annually. In addition to the production and demographic components of economic security, organic agriculture has an impact on indicators of foreign economic security, investment and innovation security, macroeconomic security, food security, social security, and financial or currency security. For all indicators except for the share of spending of consumer goods, the more intensive the development of organic production, the stronger the level of economic security. The share of expenditure on food products in the structure of consumer spending by households is critical in the context of social security. Thus, organic agricultural production development weakens social security in countries where the cost of food products is significant for the family budget because such products are more expensive. The article also noted that the mass transition to organic agriculture will lead to reduced access to food for low-income consumers, especially in developing countries. Based on the article, the production, circulation and labeling of agricultural products as organic generally leads to an increase in the Ukraine's economic security level. For successful integration into the European Union, Ukraine must fulfill several agreements and implement a series of reforms under the European Green Deal, a set of measures aimed at transforming Europe into a climate-neutral continent by 2050. The post-war green recovery of Ukraine after hostilities should take place with an emphasis on sustainable development and sustainable ecological recovery, one of the components of which is organic agriculture. It is not recommended to actively stimulate the transition to organic milk production with the help of state support instruments until the level of conventional milk yields reaches a satisfactory value approximately in 2030. A possible measure of state agricultural policy that will strengthen the economic security level is to stimulate the transition of a part of corn producers with the critical coefficients of depreciation of material assets to organic farming. The transition can be implemented with the help of attracting foreign private investment or state support instruments for reimbursement of the certification cost purchase of planting material. In low-income countries where the cost of food is significant for the family budget, the development of organic crops and animal farming significantly weakens the social security level. Based on this, the transition to organic production in developing countries, notably Ukraine, should be gradual and not limit the population access to quality and relatively cheaper food products. In further works, it is possible to reveal in more detail the impact of the consumption of organic products and emissions of greenhouse gases or ammonia on life expectancy of the population, or the state of demographic security in general. Such research should be strengthened with relevant calculation and analytical paragraphs, which will include correlation and regression models. In addition, it is recommended to compare the development of organic production in Ukraine and European countries, identifying the actual problems that hold back development processes and determining the condition under which organic product consumption can be approximated to European indicators.